So that's Naana, yeah, the Vice President. Vice President Naana, I don't know what you want to say.
Our Vice President.
Please take your seats. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Oh, good morning. Good morning. That's better. Please allow me to refer to the protocol very well established. Thank all of you for being here and express my great honor and privilege to stand before you this morning as we gather at the inaugural parliamentary conference. His Excellency the President, John Dramani Mahama, I extend warm greetings to each one of you, particularly our esteemed members of Parliament whose dedication and commitment to national development remain pivotal in shaping the future of our great country. Also, allow me personally to congratulate each one of you for winning your seats and for all the good dreams you bring in moving our country in the right directions. Congratulations. Thank you. The theme for this gathering, restoring a culture of proper small-scale mining in Ghana, is both timely and imperative. It speaks to the pressing need for collective action in addressing the challenges of small-scale mining while ensuring that it remains a sustainable and beneficial activity for our people. Over the years, we have witnessed an alarming level of environmental degradation caused by illegal and irresponsible mining practices. Our forests are being degraded. Our water bodies are being heavily polluted, rendering our lands barren. This is not only a threatening gesture to our ecosystem, but has also jeopardized the livelihood of many communities that depend on these natural resources. All three water basin systems in the country are under real threat. We have lost 44 of our forest reserves to illegal mining activities, and it will cost us several hundreds of thousands of cedis or dollars to reclaim them. The public outcry on this issue is testament to the urgency with which we must act. Therefore, as honorable members, you are not only lawmakers, but also direct representatives of your people who are most affected by the impact of these illegal mining activities. We have seen the effect of pollution on our water bodies in the very communities we oversee. Babies born with defects or stillborns, and that is of particular pain to us women. To go through the whole process and have your joy curtailed is not something we look forward to. It is therefore fitting that we convene here today to engage in meaningful dialogue and orientation on how we can collectively tackle this national concern. The government of Ghana recognizes that restoring responsible mining practices require a multi-stakeholder approach, and this is why we have outlined deliberate steps to curb the illegal mining, regulate the sector effectively, and ensure that small-scale mining is conducted in a manner that benefits the economy and the local communities without compromising the environment. We appreciate that this is a battle that cannot be fought by the government alone, and we acknowledge the crucial role of Parliament, of CSOs, all of us, in shaping policies, providing oversight, and ensuring compliance within the constituencies within which we serve. In the past months since assuming office, our Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Emmanuel Armah-Kofi Buah, has hit the ground running. Congratulations. And you have done so head-on, tackling the issue of illegal mining. Stakeholders, traditional leaders, and security agencies to strengthen enforcement measures and identify efforts in reclaiming degradable or degraded lands. These are commendable steps that require the full support of Parliament, the full support of all of us. As we embark with a shared sense of responsibility and commitment, our discussions today must move beyond rhetoric to tangible actions that will drive change in our respective constituencies. We must work together to ensure that small-scale mining is not synonymous with destruction, but rather an avenue for economic empowerment, job creation, and sustainable development. In conclusion, I extend my sincere gratitude to the organizers of this conference, our esteemed speakers, all participants, for your unwavering dedication to this cause. Let us engage constructively, deliberate effectively, and most importantly, leave here today with a renewed sense of purpose to restore a culture of proper mining in Ghana. I want to thank you for your kind attention and wish all of us a wonderful day. Thank you.
Oh, you can do better than that. Put your hands together for the Vice President. Thank you very much. Please be seated. So, having secured executive support at the highest level, we can now move with the speed which is required. So I'd like to quickly welcome the Technical Director of Forestry at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Mr. Joseph Osiakwan, to lead us in a technical presentation on the state of the small-scale mining sector. Please put your hands together for Mr. Osiakwan.
Leadership of Parliament, honorable members of Parliament, all protocols observed. I make this of illegal mining on forest reserves as we see them now and our water bodies. The presentation will give you some background, yes, and then give you some perspective of our historical mining activities in Ghana. As you all know, illegal mining predates 1980s, and those days, we all know people were not using the type of equipment we are having today on the landscape. People were using implements, the hoes, the shovels, the pickaxes, and for that matter, the devastation was not pronounced as we see today. Please, let me direct you before you go back. Somewhere in February 2003, 3 companies were granted mining leases to do prospecting in our forest reserves. These 3 major companies were Newmont Ghana, Chirano Mining, and ADC. These people were given licensing to mine in our forest reserve legally. And then in 2004, additional 25 licenses were given out, but only 10 of them were granted leases to mine. So the next slide will show you the companies that legally have licenses to mine in our forest reserves. The 3 I mentioned earlier and 10 other ones are these companies that you see. If any other company is mining in a reserve, which is not part of this list, they are doing so illegally. Next slide, please. Now, the minister in his speech mentioned that in Ghana we have 288 forest reserves. Out of these forest reserves, we have 288 forest reserves in Ghana, all across the country. And there are 21 protected areas, like the Mole National Park, the Shai Hills, those are the protected areas. Out of the 288 forest reserves, next slide. Out of the 288 forest reserves, now I'm telling you the impact. At the time we prepared this slide, we had 43. In the Vice President's speech, he said 44. Minister also mentioned 44. It means an additional forest reserve that was not recognized, that was not under any attack, under any threat, is now part of the list. Now we have 44. If we don't take action today, maybe in the next week, another new reserve that is not known for illegal activities will add on to the 44. That is what we are having now. And Minister mentioned about 5,000 hectares of our forest reserves are degraded, heavily degraded. And he mentioned that will be in the equivalent of 7,500 football pitches, standard football pitches. And this is serious. This is happening in Ashanti region, Buah, Buah, Carrier district, Western region in Tapwa, Dabuase area, and the western of Bibiani and Chi. These are the notorious areas where these illegal activities are happening. Now, we have color chart here to show you the extent of devastation and the threat. We have 4 colors here: the red, the yellow, the orange, the yellow, and the green. Out of the 44 reserves, 9 of them are colored red. And what does that mean? In these 9 reserves, the Forestry Commission that has the mandate to do that, to manage these areas, cannot even enter the forest now. They cannot. Now there are 12 forest reserves that are orange. In these areas, Forest Commission will drive them out, and then in the next week they come back. They are very aggressive on the forest officials. 18 forest reserves are medium difficulty, there they go, and then for a number of months they don't return. And it's only 4 reserves out of that 44 that they have control. But with the efforts of the minister, at least some of the red zones are beginning to. Those of you who have not been to our forest reserves, this is the kind of thing you see. The whole greening area being degraded, patchy areas now looking like lakes inside the reserve, all over dotted. This is Bonsa River Forest Reserve in the Western region. Next slide, please. This is Tanumri Western Region Reserve. This reserve is a very popular reserve. The Elsewhere administration where some political activists were actively mining in this area. That's part of the challenge we are having. Next slide. This is Brahma Forest Reserve in the Ashanti region. This is how that forest reserve has been turned into, completely devastated. A lot of water bodies have been diverted. The waterways have been blocked, diverted.
To introduce the chief who is here with us, just to acknowledge his presence. Thank you, Prof. So he will be leading the team the minister spoke about, and I'm sure we'll hear from him at some point in the program. So I'd now like to welcome Her Excellency the Vice President, Professor Naana St0rm, our. I don't want to be in the picture, so the Vice President, the Majority Leader, Minister. So whilst we are doing this, you can be having your tea and doing some quick things whilst we're taking the photos. So the Vice President, leadership of Parliament. see. Okay, there's a little stuff about now, and it's stupid. I gave it some time. You are a senior citizen. I gave it some time. And I photo fit. Thank you.
I know, but I'm not there for him back in court.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Country President, for the next session. Can we get settled to restart the program? Can we do the interview outside? Can we move them outside? I recognize them for a secondary. Can we move the conversation? Thank you, Honorable Adelaide. Thank you. Female MPs who want to take a photo with us. Let's get settled for the restart of the program. Let's get settled for the restart of the program. Let's get settled for the restart of the program. Can we get settled, please? Can we get settled, please? Thank you, Your Excellency, for raising the issue.
Media move, media move.
Parliament, traditional rulers, local communities, and all stakeholders must be part of it. This is why we have convened this conference to sensitize and orient members of Parliament on the effects of small-scale mining activities and to equip you with the knowledge and the tools to lead a charge in your respective constituencies. Honorable colleagues, every mining activity, whether we are going after some, the big guys, the unseen faces, who do not worry about where that source of money is coming. We must find them and shame them. And we can only do that when you are part of it. In the past month, since assuming office as the sector minister, I have taken immediate steps to address some of the immediate challenges. We are coming out with a systematic, sustained, well thought out, and all-inclusive approach to solving the menace. It includes strengthening law enforcement efforts. We have intensified collaboration with security agencies to clamp down on illegal mining. And let me thank the Minister for Defense and Interior for their cooperation. We're discussing this morning about the foreign nationals to make sure that we release them. Now, the Interior Minister has brought a proposal, and this is something we have to do. In a lot of countries, when people are on deportation list, there's no bail for them. And I think it has to be very clear. When you arrest people on deportation, the next course of action is to make sure you do the right things with them. Because Ghana is a welcoming country. We want every investor to come. But we don't want people who are coming to kill us. And that's what they are doing if they are collaborating. And we must send our message as clear and tough as ever. Stakeholder engagement. We are on a quest to actively undertake brought in a licensing regime to ensure a streamlined process so that those who meet the legal and environmental requirements are granted permits. We are proposing a local permitting and policing unit by expanding. Just think about it. The whole structure we have right now is centered in Accra. The EPA and the Minerals Commission who are giving the licenses. We have to find a way to decentralize the process. And there are a lot of good proposals on the table. One of them is, for example, look at a particular district. Who are the key people who are responsible for safety and security in the district? That's the DISEC. Exactly what can we do to beef up DISEC to make sure that when it comes to the issue of mining and permitting, we have brought them into the front line, added EPA, added Minerals Commission, added the forestry as part of that team to be making licensing decisions and recommending it to the top for approval. Those are proposals that we are thinking through. We believe that ultimately, if we are going to win this fight, the responsibility for licensing, the responsibility for policing must lie at the district level, so that we can now hold the authorities at the district level responsible. What we are doing is that we are trying to quench the fire in the blind all over the place. And I think that discussion should be part of what we all be talking about. So as we deliberate, let us remember that the choices we make today will determine the kind of Ghana we leave for future generations. We have a responsibility to ensure that our natural resources are managed in a way that promotes sustainable development and preserves the environment for years to come. As we proceed with today's proceedings, I urge you to actively participate in the discussions, ask questions, share your views, and let us use the platform to forge a common vision and a clear roadmap to restoring a culture of proper small-scale mining. In closing, I want to emphasize the government's commitment to this cause. We are determined to win this fight, but we cannot do it without you. Let us remember that the future of our nation depends on the actions we take today. Together, we can restore the beauty of our land. And there's one assurance you should have. And I've told all the directors, the police, and those who are in the forefront of this fight. What is different today is that not the vice president who was appointed, not the president who has appointed me, will call us to release anybody or condone any illegality. And so they should be emboldened to march on in this fight. And I believe collectively we shall succeed. I thank you.
From relevant constituencies where mining takes place, that will be for just 15 minutes. After that, we'll have an open forum where we will be harvesting your views, your suggestions, and your feedback on the strategy to go forward. I also want to